Hey guys, this is Anastasia, and this video is for the YTPaganchallenge. Challenge. What do you think of the dark and shadow, or what does dark and shadow mean to you? Um, Dark and shadow is a little difficult for me. In the physical realm, I am terrified of dark. I don't like the dark. I don't sleep well in the dark. I need a nightlight, and usually it's an end. It's not an or, it is an end. And either the TV on or the hallway light on with the door open. Sometimes all three. I'm not gonna lie. I don't deal well in the dark. I'm not sure why. Never been a fan. Um, but in the spiritual sense, I think the shadows are really where we grow. I think when we look at both light and dark, we become much more of a balanced person. Shadows or darkness in our spiritual sense, for me at least, it's all of the parts of you that maybe you're not comfortable with, maybe you don't embrace as much, maybe they do scare you. It's where shadow working comes in. It's where you hold that mirror to your face and you really look at yourself. Shadow work for me is all about acceptance. It really turns into, are you going to accept things as they are? Are you able to look at yourself and acknowledge each little bit about yourself and embrace that and own it? And it's scary. I won't lie. It's very hard to do, because I think none of us, I think for the most part, people are good enough people, but we all have our deep, dark places that we don't like to visit, that we don't like to look at, that we don't like to acknowledge are a part of us. There's a lot of things about me that I am not comfortable with. There are a lot of things that I am capable of doing, and a lot of things that I have done that I look back and just go, I that doesn't compute. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I was that person. But if I sit there and deny and deny and deny and don't want to touch this, that, and the other thing, you hurt yourself, because there are parts of you that you are repressing. There are parts of you that you are not accepting. There are parts of you that you are shunning and are shaming yourself for. And I think, I'm going to be honest, I think a bit of shame every now and then is good. I think that's how we learn. I think, if you're someone that hurt someone in the past, no, you shouldn't shackle yourself to that. You shouldn't constantly be hitting yourself over the head with a mallet because you hurt somebody. But I think it's a good thing to revisit every now and then. I think it's a good thing to have pop up in your head every now and then to remind you, hey, you did this and it sucked, so don't do it again. I think it's what keeps us on a path that we're a bit more proud to tread, if that makes sense. So while I think the shadow in spiritual life is about acceptance in a way, I think it also is good for reminders and to keep our heads and wits about us. Because if we remember the past, chances are we're going to have a little bit more of a clearer future. Because we learn from the past. We learn from our past mistakes as well as past successes. I think that's a great thing. I think the shadow is necessary in our spiritual lives. And again, whenever I do a video like this, I can only speak for myself. I'm so not speaking for anyone else. I'm not passing judgment on anyone else. I'm not saying anyone else is wrong and I'm right, because that's bogus. But what I am saying is, I think as a witch, there are a lot of times it's easy to look at the light. It's easy to send love and light to everyone. It's easy to, it's easy to send love and light to people that you like. It becomes much harder when it's someone you dislike and you still send them love and light. That's something that I think borders on that shadow of sorts, because you're having to face judgments that you're making against someone else, and it turns into, that turning the other cheek type of ideology. I struggle with that. I won't lie. If you do me wrong, it's so easy to be like, screw you. But I think there is something very freeing about turning the other cheek and saying, I'm still lighting my candle for you, even though you're a D-bag and I don't trust you farther than I can throw you. You're going through a lot of shit right now, and I'll light my candle and support you. At least in this endeavor, and at least in this time of great need. I'll send you strength. I'll send you warm fuzzies. I'm all about that. And I think, but I think that's kind of the exception to the rule. I think as a whole, it's easy to look at your friend that's struggling and be like, oh, dude, that sucks. Here, I'm going to light my candle for you. And I'm going to be all warm and fuzzy, and it's dangerous, because I really struggle when people say, oh, she's a fluffy bunny. Drives me nuts. Oh, well, he's just, he's a newbie witch because look at how into the light he is. Well, yeah, I see nothing wrong with delving into the positive, but in the same breath, there cannot be a positive without a negative. There cannot be light without dark. And I think when we embrace the dark and we go into the dark, it makes the light a little bit brighter for us. When I am shadow working, when I come back from a meditation, or I come back from a retrospection, or a working to aid me with my shadow work, the first thing I usually do is put on, like, The Office or Parks and Rec, or Scrubs, because it lightens me. It lightens the mood, and it helps me kind of come back to the light, so to speak. And it feels a bit warmer, and it feels a bit brighter, and I laugh at the jokes that I've heard a million times over a little bit harder, and it's a good thing to have that balance. Just like, the dark helps the light shine a bit more, I think the light helps the dark have a bit more meaning. For example, a lot of my shadow work lately has been centered around my daughter. I've always struggled being a mom. Always have. When I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified, because I knew I wanted to have kids one day, but it just kind of surprised me, and I wasn't necessarily ready for it. And I think a lot of times when people hear they're going to be moms, you get this idea of, oh my God, it's so exciting. And so, I'm going to be honest, there are people out there, I hope I'm not the only one, but there are a lot of days that I remember being terrified of this and not being ready and not knowing what to do. And I still, just the other day, I felt like I was in tears, because I'm like, I genuinely do not know what to do at this point. I have no idea. And I think, and so when I shadow work lately, A lot of it has been about patience. A lot of it has been about, temper. A lot of it has been about giving people a bit more room to breathe. I like to control quite a bit. And through that shadow work, and the light helping the shadow mean a bit more is my daughter. There is one great source of light in my life. It is my daughter. As much as I struggle with her, as much as I don't understand her, as much as I don't necessarily know what I'm doing, she is my beacon. No question. And so I think having something that is that meaningful to you and being that much of a positive to you makes you strive that bit more in your shadow work and in your journey in the darkness, because you want to know how to better handle things. You want to embrace these negative aspects to figure out how to turn them into something that'll work for you as opposed to against you. And I think it brings out those positive things that some people would dismiss as, oh, you're a fluffy bunny. And no, it gives them a lot more credence, a lot more weight. It's easy to say, oh my God, I love my daughter. But, I'll be honest, it sucks a lot of days. There are a lot of days I don't know if I'm coming or going. And it makes that acknowledgement, that embracing of that shadow, of the dark times, of the I don't know what I'm doing times, and the uncertainty and the not knowing if I'm coming or going. The fact that I see that and acknowledge that and say, yeah, I own it. This is on me because I should be able to figure out X, Y, and Z. Or maybe it's not on me and it's just how shit is. Excuse my language. But maybe it's just how, the cookie crumbles in this case, and I just need to accept it and move on. But dealing with those hard times, dealing with that shadow of sorts, makes me look back when I am having a good day with Lily, when I am having a day where I feel like I'm doing the right thing as a mom, and it sweetens it a bit more. It makes it that much better, and it makes me want to go back into that shadow a bit more fiercely, because yeah, I had a good day. I'm doing pretty good with this. What's next? Bring it on. And I think that is kind of it, is it empowers you. When you are able to embrace both light and dark, and you're able to look at that shadow and say, yeah, I got this. What's next? It gives you a bit of that edge, a bit of that warrior energy. And I think that's so great. And I really need to carry that into the physical realm more, so I don't need to sleep with lights on. But yeah, I think ultimately, if I look at the darkness in my spiritual life, and I look at shadow in my spiritual life, I feel empowered by it. Because I know through journeying through that shadow, I know I'm going to come out the other end. And I know that light is going to be even brighter than if I had never known the dark. And vice versa, when I'm dealing with the light, I know I'm going to want to deal with the dark that much more to make that light brighter. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that made sense to someone other than myself. And as always, blessed be. Bye, guys.